is Shanice Allen, and the case that I chose to brief is Roper versus Simmons. This case abolished capital punishment for juveniles. Before I go into detail about the outcome of this case, I would like to first discuss the murder in itself that was committed by Christopher Simmons. Premeditation. At age 17, Simmons decided he wanted to murder someone. He discussed the plan to kill with his two friends, Charles Benjamin and John Tesmer, who were 15 and 16 at the time. He devised a plan of burglary and murder and told his friends they would get away with it because they're minors. The hatching of the plan. The friends met up at 2 a.m., but Tesmer backed out of the plan. He was later charged with conspiracy, but the charges were dropped in exchange for his testimony against Simmons. Simmons and Benjamin entered the home of Shirley Crook and entered her bedroom after she was awakened from hearing them in her home. Simmons knew her from an earlier car accident and confirmed that it made him want to murder her. The two adolescents placed duct tape over her eyes and mouth and bound her hands. They then drove Mrs. Crook to a state park in her minivan. They reinforced the tape on her body, wrapped her head in a towel, and walked her to a road over Merrimack River, where they tied her hands and feet together with electrical wire and wrapped her face in duct tape and dropped her into the water below, drowning her. The next afternoon, when Mr. Stephen Crook returned home from a trip and reported his wife missing after finding their bedroom in a disarray, that same afternoon, fishermen recovered her body. Simmons was reported to be bragging about the killing and was arrested the following day from his high school. 2 hours into interrogation, he confessed to the murder and agreed to reenact the scene of the crime. The trial. Simmons was tried as an adult and charged with burglary, kidnapping, stealing, and first-degree murder. The jury recommended the death penalty after the state presented the aggravating circumstances associated with the case, and the judge accepted. In a retrial, Simmons obtained new counsel, and they argued he received ineffective assistance at trial. His prior attorney and psychologist were brought to stand as witnesses. Simmons was viewed as immature and impulsive, and he came from a troubled background where he went through a dramatic behavioral change and had terrible grades. He was expending an extensive amount of time away from home, doing drugs and drinking alcohol, and none of these circumstances were made a factor in his initial trial or sentencing proceeding. Trial court found no constitutional violation and denied Simmons' petition for habeas corpus. Simmons later petitioned for post-conviction relief under the 8th and the 14th Amendments, prohibiting the execution of a juvenile who was under the age of 18 at the time that they committed a crime. The Missouri Supreme Court agreed, and a national consensus was developed against the execution of juvenile offenders on the basis that 18 states had barred it, 12 other states had barred execution altogether, and 5 states either raised or established the minimum age of 8 for execution. Simmons' death sentence was reduced to life imprisonment without eligibility for probation, parole, or release except by the act of the governor of Missouri. Thank you. That's my presentation.